Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's we have a new what if. What if Universe 6 Saiyans was in Universe 7? Which meaning Kappa, Kell, and Khalifa. Before we get to the main story timeline, we're gonna need to talk about their backstories. So first we're gonna start off with Kappa. Kappa, he was an elite Saiyan. He was very strong and he had his own team. Of course, he was the leader of the team. His teammates did respect him as a leader since he wasn't too strict or he wasn't too soft. And with Kaba knowing that he can trust his teammates, they usually got each other's backs when they're on missions. Most of the time when Kappa's done with his missions, he usually goes to Prince Vegeta to train with him. Yeah, they're friends. No, they're rivals. They always like to train with each other. Once they're done with their missions, they always like to pump each other up. And they always have intense battles. With most of the time, Kappa beating Vegeta. Vegeta mostly gets angry, but he respects Kappa as a Saiyan. He won't let this elite Saiyan beat him. He's the prince of all Saiyans and he should be the strongest. With Kappa also thinking the same thing, that even if Vegeta was the prince, he's not gonna let him surpass him. Now, going to Kel and Khalifa, they're both sisters, and they do live with their father. Their mother died once she born Kel, and she died, which the father was devastated to hear, but he at least had his two daughters with him to keep him company. Of course, the father was great friends with Bardock, and they always kept in touch with each other. Going back to Kell and Khalifa, Khalifa has a personality where she's always fired up and she always loved training with her father. But Kell is more the opposite. She's mostly nervous and she only trains with her sister and her father. But Kell always hates going to Bardock's house, just cause of one reason. Khalifa has a crush on Raditz. And Kell gets so angry that her sister is slowly being taken away from her. Kell gets jealous and gets angry every time they go to Bardock's house. And it's also pretty obvious that Raditz like Khalifa back. Eventually, Bardock and the father will catch up on this and leave the two by themselves. They both notice that they both like each other, but they're a little too young to start dating. So, they both promise each other, once they get a little older, they start dating each other. So, they both make that promise, and Raditz gets called in for a mission. And that this mission might be a little long, so he should pack up some stuff. So, Raditz does pack up his things, and he's ready to go for his mission. Before he leaves, he gives Khalifa a hug before he goes. Khalifa blushes, telling him to be safe. He blushes, and he leaves, with Bardock also saying goodbye, and Gina also. With Kel just sitting there getting angry, good thing he's gone now. Gina makes some food for all of them, and they all eat. The food was delicious. They thank Gina for the food, but now they eventually have to go. Everyone says their goodbyes, and they all leave. A few days go past, and eventually the father has to go do his missions. He tells his two girls to take care of each other, and he heads off. Eventually, a few weeks does go by. Kel and Khalifa was doing their own thing, but they get a surprise visitor. It was their father. They wasn't expecting him to come till at least a few more weeks. The father just said to come with him immediately. They're weirded out. Why is he acting all strange? They do what he says and follow him. They do walk down a street, I guess you can say, where they met up with Bardock in 3 pods. Bardock put his newborn son in the pod. The father tells them that they have to go in the pods too. Khalifa is wondering why. The father stutters. He stays silent for a quick minute and tells them everything about how Frieza is calling for all the Saiyans, and Bardock's theory might be right, where he's trying to eliminate all the Saiyans. Just in case that happens, he wants to make sure that at least his daughters stay alive, and he tells them to take care of Kakarot also. Khalifa thinks that her father must be talking crazy. Frieza wouldn't do that. Would he? They're not too sure. The father gives his two daughters a last big hug, saying that if he doesn't come in 2 years, that means he's dead. Kel starts crying. Khalifa tries holding back her tears, saying that won't happen. You don't need to send us. Please don't. The father says that this is just for your safety, and he puts them both in the pods, gives them one last kiss before he sends them off to planet Earth. And like normal, even with the father and Bardock, there's still not enough for Frieza, and Frieza does blow up planet Vegeta. Before we talk more about Kel, Goku, and Khalifa's adventures, let's talk about where is Cabba dead? Well, of course he's not. Frieza did heard that the prince does have a little friend, or a rival you can say. So Frieza decides to keep him alive for reasons. So Cabba just stays on the planet he's on. But we'll definitely see Cabba later. Going back to the others, they eventually make it to planet Earth, with Khalifa and Kel getting out the pods, still saddened by what their father told them. Khalifa's hoping that her father comes back in 2 years. They get the crying Kakarot and they head off by themselves. Eventually, they run into an old man. He introduced himself, his name is Grandpa Gohan, or just Gohan. He's wondering why his kids here all by themselves. Where are their parents? So he asks, where are their parents at? Khalifa just stays silent, saying that it's none of his business, and they just kept on walking with the crying Kakarot. Grandpa Gohan is wondering, are they lost? Do they need some help? So Grandpa Gohan decides to help them, saying that he got some food at his place if they're hungry. Khalifa is of course about to tell the old man to buzz off, but she is starting to get hungry, and plus they have nowhere to really go and live. So Khalifa decides that they should stay with the old man, since they have nowhere else to live. So they all go to Grandpa Gohan's house. Grandpa Gohan decides to give them food. Grandpa Gohan wonders, why do they have tails? He tries asking them, but they just kept on ignoring his question. After eating Grandpa Gohan's food, they decide to stay with him for a few months. But one day, when Khalifa was out training by herself, Kakarot came out to see what she was doing. But Kakarot got a little too close to her, and he got sent flying by Khalifa's air pressure. Khalifa didn't notice that Goku was even out, and she went to go check up on him, but it looks like Goku hit his head. Khalifa took Goku back to Grandpa Gohan, which Grandpa Gohan put some bandages on his head. But when Goku woke up, it was like he didn't know nothing. He didn't remember no one and forgot everything. Clearly, he has a concussion. Khalifa blames herself for not noticing Kakarot was there. She would have held back her power if she knew he was there. Grandpa Gohan just tells her that it wasn't her fault since she didn't know Kakarot was there. A few more months goes by, and it's been a year by now since they've been sent away by their father. Khalifa's still worried about her father, and also Kel. But one day, it was Kel and Khalifa's turn to go grab some grub, or fish. So they both leave, with only Kakarot with Grandpa Gohan. When they do leave, Grandpa Gohan was focused on other stuff, but Kakarot, he was looking at the sky, looking at all the stars. But he looks all the way up and sees something round. It's of course the moon. Goku looks at it for a little bit. He feels weird. He never seen the moon before. He goes outside and looks at the moon. But then when he does, his eyes go blank. He starts growing in size, and his eyes become fully red. He starts growing fur until he starts getting bigger and bigger, turning into a Azaru. Of course, Grandpa Gohan hears this and goes outside to see a massive ape outside of his house. No way, this can't be. Is it Goku? Grandpa Gohan noticed that it had to have been Goku, because he can't find him anywhere. This Azaru screams out a monstrous roar and attacks Grandpa Gohan. Gohan was able to dodge most of the Great Ape's attacks. Kel and Khalifa would, of course, hear this and starts running as fast as possible. Eventually, when they do make it, they were too late, and Grandpa Gohan was killed by the Great Ape / Kakarot. Kel tries stopping the Zaru, but she just gets a massive beatdown. Kel will see this and she will get angry. Her sister is getting beaten on. Kel's power slowly starts rising up. Her eyes start slowly turning yellow and her hair flickers up. Then she jumps massive and with a ferocious punch to Kakarot, or the Great Ape. The Great Ape goes down, and Kel was able to rip off Kakarot's tail and make him turn back to his normal size. Kel was able to calm down and help her sister, which she did help her by putting some bandages on her, which she did learn from Grandpa Gohan. And she also helped Kakarot. But the next day happened, and Kakarot's wondering what happened. Kel and Khalifa keep this away from him and just says that a monstrous ape came to attack them, and Kakarot went knocked out when he seen the ape do the shocked. They tell him that unfortunately it killed Grandpa Gohan. Kakarot is angry, but he wish he was there to at least help his grandpa, but it seems like he just got knocked out. Kakarot also wonders what happened to his tail, and it must have left, whatever. Eventually another few months goes by, and it was Kakarot's turn to get some fish or some food. Like normal, someone does tell him to get out the way. Kakarot almost gets hit by the car. He was able to dodge it this time. A young woman leaves out the car, with this of course being Bulma. But this is where we're going to be ending off this What If. Mostly this was just an introduction to introduce the characters of Cabba, Kel, and Khalifa. So really, I'm going to say this is only a 0.5 part, and that part 1 will be coming soon. But hopefully you guys enjoy. Considering hit a like and also subscribing. It'll show me that you guys are supporting my videos and that you enjoy my content. But either than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.